Welcome, everyone. It's Sunday, April 24th, 2022, and we're going into our Q&A section of our Sunday Morgellons Call.
Well, welcome, everybody. This is Richard Kuhns, author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons, Chronic Lyme, and Other Skin Parasites, welcoming you to Getting Your Life Back, and that's what we're all about here today. I just want to go through wrap up on two questions that were introduced last week. One was a lady asked about colostrum, and I didn't have an answer, and I didn't exactly know what colostrum was, and I looked it up, and it's milk. So, okay, when we're dealing with milk, unless it's lactose free, don't even try it. All right, so it's as simple as that. And I know Costco does sell lactose-free milk. Many supermarkets do sell lactose-free milk. However, you want to read the ingredients on the label, because Costco's lactose-free milk has no other ingredients. But when I go to the other major supermarkets, I don't know why, but they put other stuff in, like diglycerides, for instance, in their lactose-free milk. So you need to read the ingredients. Now, there was another question, and Mary, would you read the question that lady sent in about taking the two dog pills or whatever? Would you read her first, just to refresh our minds?
Yes, this is the one that I read last week. And it starts with, after taking 2 dog pills, I have new problems. I woke up.
That's rather interesting. We don't know what those dog pills were, but okay. This is the kind of emails I get, and the reason we're here is to help clarify things, and it is a process. And unless you write me these emails, you're going to go down a tube of nothing and give up on the program and not get your life back. So this already sounds ominous, 2 dog pills. Okay, please continue.
I woke up 2 weeks ago and I had mites embedded underneath my arms. I wash many times a day with debriding soap and nothing makes it better. It is very painful. I now have red bumps on each side of my neck, and I have white foam coming from 2 teeth that ate my gums like an acid. The next morning, my lips had the white foam on them, and it burned like acid eating my skin. My bottom lip is constantly burning and very cut up and swollen. I was in stage 2 for many weeks before the dog medications. No itching, no new bites. I have stayed on the diet, and I felt that the diet would pull me out of this, but no, it's getting worse. My body is on fire. This is unbearable. My nerves are shattered, and I don't know what to do.
So we've gone from bad to worse here, and what am I to do? I get an email like that, and well, obviously, my big question is, what the heck were these pills? So I wrote back and basically want to find more information. What did she take? So what's her next email? And we didn't have the email last Sunday. It came in like around Monday. So would you read the following email?
Yes, the second email was, I took 2 dog pills that Mary and Robin told me about, Lufenuron and Benzodol. I did read last week that shutmyhealth.com did not advise to take at the same time. I took both for almost a month. At 6 o'clock last night, all the parasites started biting at the same time. It's like their alarm went off. My arms, shoulders, back, and all started to itch. I sprayed with calamine. I rubbed one large place on my arm with an exfoliator. Dark brown parasites were pouring out. I kept exfoliating, and they turned to beige and then white. A freak show. I jumped in the shower. Thank God for the debriding soap and the mineral soap. I thought I was going to die last night. My neck is covered with red bites, deep holes in my arms. I can see a swelling under lesions, which I think are more parasites on my arm. Isn't the pill you mentioned for fleas? I was thinking I should take Lufenuron or maybe the Fenben, but not both at the same time.
Okay, well, we learned a little bit more. She just didn't take 2 dog pills and all this started happening as a result of taking 2 pills. She took them over a period of time, which is important, and here's a reaction. So I wrote back and I suggested maybe there was an allergic reaction. I wasn't sure exactly. And then she writes back this. So give us the final email.
She writes, I'm doing much better, being 100% on the diet, and all my purchases from the store are kicking in, and a positive attitude. Interesting that I could be allergic. Also, I got really worse when I bought farmer's cheese and rye crisp. You're right, no 2 people are going to have the same experience. We must look for results by keeping the journal. I really love that farmer's cheese.
But farmer's cheese isn't working. Well, anyway, the good news is through this and through writing me, at least she opened up communication. And that communication kept her going, in a sense. And with time and keeping the diary, and did the farmer's cheese? Well, it could have definitely contributed to this. But it seems that it seems like the medications did really kick in. And she had an exodus of these parasites. And a little later on, we're going to have Melanie share her experience of what happened when she started with Lufenuron. But things sometimes get worse. You know, these medications, they work. You know, that's it. And if your body is full of these organisms, where are they going to go? They either have to come through your skin, or they're going to have to overflood your system, your liver and your kidneys, and have a lot of miserable detox reactions. I remember an email I'd gotten some time ago, and I did an update on it, and the lady shared she took Lufenuron, and as soon as she started Lufenuron, her face started breaking out like with acne, and this lasted for a month. But she did not stop the Lufenuron. She kept with the Lufenuron, and she didn't even write me. It took them, to say, wait, what's happening? She just stuck with it. And after a month, all of the things on her face started clearing up. And so sometimes things get worse before they do get better. So that's good. So I invite people to share the good and share the bad, because the bad usually is the good starting. The good is starting. That's what the bad usually means. Or the farmer's cheese really is a problem. Okay, so great. Okay, we have some other people waiting to ask questions.
How you doing? How you doing, Rich? How you doing, Robin? How you doing, Chris? I just want to say that the just when you mentioned the Lufenuron, it helped me big time. I don't know if it. I'm not going to say it cured me, but it helped me. I don't know about any other person's body, but for my body, that's the ticket for me. That I can eat anything in moderation, and I'm doing quite well, and I feel excellent. I feel better. I haven't felt like this in 20 years.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Nick. It really gives me a good feeling to wrap things up, like with the lady we shared with before, with the different communication, and go from a point or a place of where it seems like all hell is breaking loose and there's no hope for me to, hey, I'm getting better. It's really working. I gain a great sense of well-being or accomplishment when someone can go through that, as she did and as Nick did. And there are people that often write me and tell me Lufenuron cured them. Well, again, there is no cure. And before I go on, I need to be clear with the FDA, because we're talking about pet medications and recommendations here, and I don't want to be accused of something that I'm not allowed to do. So the FDA requires me to inform everyone that I am not a medical doctor, neither is Robin or any of the people on our coaching staff or Chris in the office. We're not the medical doctors. We're not trained. So before you start the King diet, before you accept any of my recommendations or follow through with taking any of my recommendations, please discuss them with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. The FDA has not evaluated anything that is being said here today. Likewise, being that we are not medical doctors, we are not trained in anatomy and medication, so we cannot prescribe, we cannot diagnose, we don't do that. It's not that we can't. We do not prescribe, diagnose, mitigate, or cure any disease, skin disease or else. What we can do, we're allowed to educate. We can educate you how to use the King diet. When you utilize the King diet and make it work, I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems that the organisms go into a trance of some sort. It's that powerful, and you get your first night great sleep. We can educate you how to clean them out of your skin. And as the first question came up, apparently there was a lot of stuff in this lady's skin, even though she had been on the diet for a period of time. They were still in her skin, and these medications allowed them to, well, clean them out of her skin. So we can educate you how to clean them out of your skin. Through our bathing protocols, use of these different medications, we can train you how to clean them out of your environment so to avoid being reinfected. And we can educate you into targeted supplements that support your health and well-being and build immune functioning. That's what we're allowed to do. Okay, so thank you, Nick, for sharing. Who's next?
Anna, you could go next, Anna.
Okay,
Hi.
thank you. So thank you for being my lifeline. I'm grateful weekly because this seems to be a global epidemic. From online, I see so many people worldwide who they're suffering from this and desperate. So, of course, you all know that, right? I'm sure Richard knows it and Robin knows it, and yeah, it's really challenging. But anyway, I want to ask you about the ammonia. Could that affect my dryer? Because you know, we have a elder dryer and washer here, and I don't want to do anything to, you know, to deteriorate any of the parts. In your experience, do you know anything about that with the ammonia?
To my knowledge, the dryer is not affected by it because everything, the heat is blown into the dryer. It's not going through any electronics. I mean, I can't unequivocally say that there is no dryer it won't affect. I'm only going from the experience of the dryers that I've had over the last 30 or 40 years. So,
yeah, because in other words, it's a, you know, if I do, I mean, I have anxiety about that, you know, so I have to make that decision myself personally, right? Because
yes,
you know,
so, you know, to my knowledge, all dryers work basically the same. They heat up and they blow air into the dryer, and that air goes in through the lint filter where the lint is trapped and dead organisms are trapped, and then out through the vent. So it doesn't blow it through any electronics.
Mm-hmm. So if I just put like a few drops on a towel, you think that would suffice, or?
Oh, well, you need to start with about a third of a cup of ammonia in the dryer, along with some peppermint oil, or you could just use the oil, the peppermint oil.
Maybe I'll try that. How many drops of peppermint oil?
Probably about 5 or 6.
I would say 10.
10, sure, be safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate this. Can I ask a couple more questions? Is it all right? Okay. Yeah, I've gotten the lactose-free ghee, and I'm just wondering, you know, there's lactose-free butter that is available as well. Is that basically the same? I mean, except for they, you know, remove some of the ingredients to make the ghee. Is one better than the other for our issues?
I don't
the ghee or the butter?
I don't have an answer. As long as it's not a blend, but they make butter blends or with hydrogenated stuff. So as long as it's pure butter, whether it's organic or non-organic, obviously you're better going organic if you can. With, you know, so just read the ingredients to make sure there's nothing else in there other than butter and ghee. You It's
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was wondering about that. Also, as far as melatonin, I know you don't address that, I don't think much, but there is a study that melatonin high doses can be helpful for cancer patients, and I saw online there's a product that's really high milligram, like I think it's 60 milligram. Do you know anything about that? Can that be, something that can be helpful for those of us suffering with these issues?
I have no idea.
The high dose, yeah. There's a study, or I don't know if that's legitimate or not, because you never know what you see online, but that it can be helpful, for cancer patients going through their symptoms, high doses of it. And I was wondering.
Our Dr. Luna uses Spandex with all his cancer patients, and that there are studies that indicate that is of significant value with cancer patients as well. We're dealing with cofactors. The melatonin, I don't know. I don't know of any connection with melatonin and increased or decreased parasitic activity. What we simply know and have been led to through the initial one research said that borax, primazide, reduces parasitic activity. And this was not for Morgellons, not for Columbella, but for what was the organism? A protozoan organism that most of us are infected by anyways. But that kind of got us onto the track and realizing that the value of ORAP is to reduce dopamine uptake. And then I looked at all the other medications that were reported over time, and all of them have in common the fact that they reduce dopamine uptake in the brain, which led us to one of the participants wrote in, her name was Olga, and she says, well, why don't you find herbs that do the same thing? There are herbs that do the same thing, which led to our Parasite Stop herbal formula that I'm fortunate to have Barbara with us, who is our herbalist, and she's quite knowledgeable, and we put together this formula, the Parasite Stop formula, and, gosh, it's incredible. It really works. So, maybe it's deduction or whatever, but we're talking about reducing uptake of dopamine in the brain. That's what it seems to be what's happening. And the Parasite Stop formula, every herb in there has that significance. It reduces uptake in the brain. Now, too much of anything can be somewhat of a problem. Someone mentioned earlier before the program started about being concerned because one of the side effects could be additional depression. So generally this comes from these herbs, if they're used as teas. See, when you're taking a capsule, you're not getting nearly as much of the herb that you would if you were using it as a tea. So if you had a cup of tea, the amount of that herb would be maybe 1,000 times more. So too much of a particular herb could lead to depression. But obviously, most of us are pretty depressed anyway, so it's kind of like weighing it out here. It's highly unlikely, but for us to cover our bases, we just need to put up the side effects that are possible so that if you do notice anything, so maybe you curtail it. But the Parasite Stop formula has been incredible. Robin loves it, right, Robin? You love it?
Yeah, I do.
Mary, you love it, right? Mary?
I just started it this week, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So, and, the strange thing about it is people haven't been telling us about it, and when we look at the sales, some people buy 5 jars at a time. Hey, there must be a reason. And so that's important. Another comment, before the program started, another comment was that much of the material, people ask questions that maybe the answers are already in the book, and that's true. Probably most of everything we talk about, the answers are in the book, and it is important to read that book. And people who really get their lives back, read that book as many as 8 times. They put Post-its in it. But then again, we want to be aware that not everybody is the same. Some people can read the book and comprehend it. Many people, reading is not their forte right now because of brain fog. Many of us suffer from brain fog. So you sit down to read the book and you get through the page and you go to turn the next page and say, what the hell did I read? And you go back and you read it again. And what the hell did I read? So some people, okay, the book is there. And then some people are more visual and more auditory. So that's what this is. It's visual and auditory. So we may cover some of the same stuff that's in the book. We want to cover all our bases. And so that's one of the benefits of this program, because if you're not really good at reading at this point and you've got the brain fog, well, the good news is you can go back and watch these videos. You can take it back 5 minutes and watch it again, take it back 5 minutes. And if you're more auditory and visual, okay, you get to look at me and you get to look at Robin going through this and get the information from a different source, a different level of comprehension. Okay, who's the next question?
Yeah, this is Nikki. I didn't have a question. I just I saw that today's topic was about laundry, and I think I have tried just about everything you could possibly imagine and some of my own creations. But I just thought I'd share what actually has worked for me, because laundry was always one of my biggest challenges. First of all, I wasn't separating my cleaning clothes from my I'm going to go in public clothes. And that's what I really had to do. I had to gut my closet, and I have a tote that is, when I'm going to clean house, I get in there and I have, my sweats, my t-shirts, and as soon as I'm done cleaning, they don't go on my floor, they don't go in a laundry basket, they go into my washer, and then I come, then I go get in the shower. I was just kind of like putting them in a laundry basket when I get a load, starting it, and I just found that you can't do that, and separating them. But Home Depot has a white garbage bag that they carry, and it's bigger than your 13-gallon kitchen bag, but it's not huge like the next size up. I think it's maybe like an 18-gallon. But they're white. They're very, very thick. They're not the stretchy kind. And so, like, when I'm going to hang my clothes up, or even if, you can use it to lay down if you need to stand on it, anything. But they are the most quality garbage bags. So when I do my laundry and I put them on hangers, I will actually take the garbage bag and turn it upside down and put a hole in the bottom, just like you would get your dry cleaning. And then I just gather it at the bottom. And so I instead of just having all of them loose in the closet, I have like a few shirts and they're bagged, and it just prevents anything airborne from getting on them. And as far as washing, the one thing I was not doing was committing to OxyClean. And I don't know why, but what I started doing is just using whatever people can afford, as long as it is somewhat quality, Tide, Persil, or, one of yours. But I use the borax, the OxyClean, and the detergent. I fill up the washing machine, I let it agitate for about 5-10 minutes, and then I just shut it off. And I let that soak for hours. Before I go to bed, I'll start it up and let it spin out. And believe it or not, that has worked better than any other. And now, if they're bad clothes that I had on, I'm cleaning, then I will wash them a second time with the enzyme only. So I do the borax, the OxyClean, and the detergent. And then I'll do them a second time with the enzyme if necessary, because that enzyme's really expensive. but just those two things have helped me. And somebody mentioned, you know, being nervous about the dryer, and I like once in a while, I would say once a month, I take like 6 socks and I let them soak in ammonia, and then I just lightly wring them out and I put them in the dryer and I let those 6 socks dry in there, and then, you know, of course I take my vacuum and make sure all the vents in the back are, you know, cleaned out. But just running those, just 6 random socks that have been soaked in ammonia, drying them in there by themselves I've never had an issue with my dryer.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know if any of that will help. And just one last thing, that king diet is, people struggle with it. I struggled with it for different reasons, but I was talking to my therapist, and she suggested just kind of changing the way I word it and backing up my statements. So instead of I got to drink more water, I know I got to drink more water today, she has me saying, I get to drink water because I actually am provided with good, clean water. Like, as far as going for walks, I would say, I really need to get some exercise, but, you know, you're so depressed, you're in so much pain, you're tired, you don't want to. But it's what I was saying to myself, I got to get some exercise. So instead, now she has me saying, I get to go for a walk today because the sun is shining and I had 2 legs that function, and whether or not I like it, I know I'm going to be glad I did it. And just simply changing your wording and the way you approach the things that you have to do, it does kind of help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It might not help.
Attitude makes a difference. Thank you.
Yeah, it might not help for everybody, but, you know, hopefully, please, anybody who's struggling with laundry, go to Home Depot, look for those white, they're, like I said, I think they're like 18-gallon garbage bags. They are just remarkable, and they will help.
They're probably construction grade. Anyway.
No, they're not that thick. They're not that thick. And
okay.
they're not that thick. They're not that expensive. But I'm just saying, like, you know, people who have been doing this for 6+ years, we went through them all. And when you find a good product, it's just something I wanted to share. Okay,
thank you. Just one comment, not everybody's, at least mine, the newer washing machines, there's no way to pause the cycle. So it just goes through the cycle unless you figure out a way to manually go down and stop it and lift the lid and stop it. But many of the newer washing machines don't let you pause the cycle like the old ones did.
I purchased, I went through Walmart and I think I spent like $250, and I purchased, they're like dorm-size washers. I don't mix my laundry with my family's. I spent the $250, and I have my own washer. It's small, so like I said, the clothes that I wear that day go right in the washer. It's perfect, and you're able to stop it. So I I don't feel comfortable mixing and using the same as my family. It just makes me nervous.
Thank you. That's a good tip because many people are living with other family members, and that's a good tip. Okay, who's next?
Okay.
Chris.
Yeah, we correlated through email recently. I reached out to you when I was having a bit of an emergency, and you were explaining to me that you need to get me a life coach. Basically, I've been dealing with this probably for about 6 months. What happened is there must have been some type of mite infestation in my apartment. Long story short, we winded up moving out, and I've been back and forth between, I'm a veteran, so I've been, they have me in hotels right now until I get my housing situation situated. But it's just, constant reinfestation on my end. And, I think I have the science down to a science. But my question is there's a topic that in one of my other groups, and it's about something called Pyrethrins or Tysiosis, and I was just wondering if you ever heard of it. It's sort of similar as far as the parasites go.
Pyrethrins?
I just didn't know. I'm sorry?
Is it Pyrethrins?
I believe so. It's something that has to do with like plant rot, but I didn't know that.
It comes from what's that yellow chrysanthemums? Basically many doctors recommend it. It breeds superbugs because they can adapt to it and become stronger. So it's not something that we would recommend or use, but many people use.
No. I don't. I didn't mean that I was recommending. I think that I'm being affected by it because, well, see, so I kind of like, was doing process of elimination. I was like, okay, I'm reading up on this. Okay, it's not that, and I go back to the drawing board, and I think I have it down to basically the columba, which is my biggest problem, and it's like a combination of that and then the Tysiosis because it's like this white mist and it'll attach to any type of filament fabric and it'll try to invade your skin basically, and I have no way. I'm at my ends wits with trying to figure out how to calm it down. I think the diet is probably the best. Some days I get a lot of relief, but then, stupid me, I go back to the sugar, and then, it's just all breaks loose again.
Well, you said it. You wrapped it up there, stupid me. Well, first of all, that medication is toxic and is not recommended for long use, so it could be hazardous to your health. Secondly, if you haven't made the diet kick in, whether you're just doing the diet or using the Parasite Stop formula or one of the medications, there's not much that can be done because you're going to continue to be a walking, talking breeding machine. Next, if there are organisms that are in the air, you're going to need to use maybe either air filtration, but I would recommend going the route of the electrostatic sprayer and knocking them out of the air because if they're in the air, that means they're probably around hanging on the walls and ceilings and stuff like that. And
that's exactly right.
You're going to want to get
I can see them, and it's like, it's really scary because you see them actually coming towards you, and it's like, I'm trying to throw everything I have at it. I bought high-grade essential oils, everything. I had about 9 to 10 diffusers set up, misters, everything, the whole 9. The best thing that works is the essential oils, and but they become so expensive. I mean, I'm spending $400, $500 a time, and getting a couple days of relief, and then right back to the drawing board. But my last question was, I'm a diabetic, and I just didn't know if you knew about the medication Metformin, and if it can counteract, or is there a dosage that I should be taking? Because I can't go to my regular PCM and ask them about this type of stuff because they're recommending all through the board.
You're talking so fast. Slow down, please.
Sorry about that.
First of all, the electrostatic sprayer is your answer for, the diffusers and so forth. They're good, but the electrostatic sprayer is the answer. And you need to do it several times a day, be aggressive, and get ahead of these things. Now, what is the medication you're asking about?
Metformin for diabetes melatosis.
So what is your question?
Is there a certain dosage that I should be taking, or because right now someone recommended, because the skin crawling sensation was so overwhelming, that's why I'm so erratic, is because it drives me nuts.
I'm not familiar with this Melatonin. I don't know anything about it.
Metformin, they prescribe it to diabetics to help bring down the sugar levels.
Okay, you'd have to talk to your doctor about that. Our Parasite Stop formula has herbs in it that reduce blood sugar and help you with blood sugar as well. There are many advantages to the Parasite Stop formula with those herbs. Berberine is another herb that also is recommended for managing blood sugar. So look into the Parasite Stop formula and berberine, and obviously discuss it with your doctor. That's what our job is to inform you. But there are alternatives. I'm not going to address Melatonin or medications. That's between you and your doctor.
Understood. And then where can I get an electrostatic sprayer? I've never heard of one of those before.
It's in our website.
Okay.
You can go to theorganicstore.com, theorganicskincare.com.
Okay, great.
You get our email. Every email you get from me, the very top paragraph gives you a link to the store.
Right.
And the free book.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All righty. Keep coming back. We're here to Okay, thank you. Who's next?
I'm just coming out of the trenches of this stuff. I just found out about you about 15 minutes before the phone call, and I'm excited about reading your book. I've had a problem for 4 months now, and I live in an apartment, and the washer and dryer were, I guess the infestation came from there. Is there anything I can do to the washer and dryers that the public is using downstairs?
Well, so these are public washers and dryers?
The people in the apartment use them, the people in the apartment complex. And we also had a bed bug infestation, and the bed bugs are gone, but I continue with these little black and white specks that are driving myself and my cats crazy.
Okay, well, number one, you're going to need to read the book and start the diet, because without starting the diet, getting it to kick in, there's not much that's going to help. The first segment of this program was about laundry. You can do it with the wash machines. I mean, you just may have to have the tote. We talked about putting your laundry in a tote. You eat eggs, and you buy the eggs in these plastic egg things. When you're done with all the eggs, you just take the egg crate thing and put it in the bottom of a tote, put ammonia in first, and then put this on top to separate your laundry from the ammonia. You let it sit for 3 hours to a full day, see what works, and then put it in your washing machine. The first load, since it's a public washer, you might want to put in ammonia. And we have biodegradable soap. You could use our biodegradable soap. We say stay away from detergents and the ones that you buy, because they have sodium lauryl sulfate in them and other chemicals that, if you go to the internet and you look up toxicity of them, they cause a lot of skin problems. So highly recommend our laundry soap, which is biodegradable. So and then the second time you wash it, you might do it with just the enzymes, or you might do it with the laundry soap and borax, and so you figure out what works. You put your laundry then in the dryer, and you disinfect the dryer with ammonia by pouring about a third of a cup or a half a cup of ammonia on a towel or something, or saturate the dryer sheets, as Robin said earlier, and dry your clothes, and then put them in the plastic bags and seal them, and put in some menthol crystals if you like. Yes, Robin?
You also want to spray the lint thing. When you take out the lint thing and clean it, spray that with ammonia as well.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a severe allergic reaction to borax.
Then don't use it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I will read your book, and I'll start on your diet, and I'll get some products. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming on and being part of our program. Keep coming back. We're here to support you in getting your life back. Who's next?
Okay, temperature on the enzymes. Is there too hot for the enzymes? Will it kill anything if the water's too hot?
I responded to you, just lukewarm water, not too hot.
That's a good point. Thank you. Lukewarm water.
Okay.
Yes, we didn't have that discussion in the first part of the program. So lukewarm water. You don't want to kill these guys. They're your friends.
Okay. And then I seem to not use, I don't know if I use enough of the crystals in like a full bag of clothing to store. How much? I just don't know. I've never known the amount to use of the menthol crystal.
Well, if you have one crystal in there, that's going to be good. That's going to be a start, because it's the vapors. So you just put, a handful is too much. Of course, you want to use.
I'm using on the size of the bag. Smaller bags are better with just a few crystals. If you have a huge bag of stuff, it may not even get to everything. If I'm just
I
saying.
was putting them in those little bags, you know, those little, like you would put potpourri in, like 2 of them, and put them on 2 separate sides of the bags, you know.
Right, but what are you putting that in?
I'm putting that in like a vacuum sealed bag, the ones you vacuum the air out, in clothing.
Yeah, I know. What size are the clothing bags?
I have small ones to big ones, but in a big one, I would use 2 different little areas in the bag, and, you know, put them on separate sides
how
of the bag.
big is big? I don't think 2 small ones are enough for a really big bag.
You have to experiment, see what works for you.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
If the idea is if it's a big bag, you intersperse you don't put all of the crystals at the bottom. You put it in some in the bottom, some in the middle, some near the top. Okay?
Right on. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Mary, you have another email to read?
This one is, the first email said, I'm having an emergency of some sort and need your help immediately. The second email said, I'm in the hospital with severe itching and I think it might be due to Demodex.
Okay. That's a big problem. Once you're in the hospital, and I'm surprised, you know, there are not more people that are having this issue, because some people are actually, do we use the word condemned now? Condemned to, you know, to the mental institutions when they talk about having these organisms and are diagnosed as delusional. So, I mean, there have been many people that have shared that they've gone to the doctor, and maybe with a husband or with a spouse, and the doctor says you're crazy, and they commit them right to the hospital. That's the worst place to be. You have no control of your food. You have no control of disinfection. There's nothing you can do. You get the hell out as soon as you can. Be good and pretend to be sane, whatever. Get the hell out. Hospital is not any place to be with these organisms. There's nothing that we can suggest. Do you have any idea, Robin? What could you do?
Well, it's not condemned, it's committed.
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 Thank you.
But, yeah, you want to avoid being committed at all costs. It's pretty hard to manage in that kind of environment. You have limited control.
No control. You have no control of your food. You have no control of your supplements. You don't even allow to take supplements with you. They give you the medications and hope they give you a Abilify or one of the medications on the list that might help. But you're at the mercy,
right,
of the system. Okay, great. Next person, Chris.
I've been having biofilm. I think I mentioned it the last time, and Robin's been a great help. In my throat, it feels like rubber bands in my throat, and I've been doing everything she said, and it is better, but I'm still having bouts where I really, really can't breathe, and it's very distressing, obviously. And this week it happened big time. I gargled salt water, and this big blob came out. It looked like a fat worm. But I was told upon magnifying it, it looked more like the Morgellons because it had different things in it, and inside was a skinny string kind of thing. So I don't know what I'm dealing with. Do you advise getting tested somewhere, or should I just keep with the program? I'm on the very strict first stage diet. However, I'm very tall, and I went down to 109 pounds, so it's not a good situation. I also have a kidney issue, so I can't have much protein. So it seems like things are kind of catch-22 for me. Any advice at all where to make an amends somehow here?
Well, you've got several different things going on. Number one, the weight issue. So are you okay with rice?
I'm having just millet for the last 2 weeks because I Googled what foods make phlegm. And it was the dairy, eggs, rice. I'm not remembering those fourth ones.
Well, the thing is, you know, like I couldn't eat millet. Millet everyone is different, and millet can be making it worse if it's caused by Morgellons. So, you know, that you could be doing the opposite of, you can't just find something that you read and go by that. Everyone's different. Like millet is on stage 1 for some people, but I couldn't take it. It made everything worse.
So does that mean no carbs or go back to some rice? Because to me, I'm doing a guessing game.
Well, you want to bulk up. So the things that we do to bulk up is, one, consume animal skin. Could be chicken skin or any fats that comes along with the protein that you eat. In terms of animal, I mentioned rice because there's one brand of rice or one type of rice that has more protein in it. Do you remember what was that?
Jasmine. It was jasmine rice, and I got it. I got the jasmine brown rice, and it's true what you said. Okay,
so that for me, I used to bulk up. I used the rice pasta. Well, it was spinach pasta with rice with turkey meatballs, and I made my own tomato sauce, or you can get certain brands that are okay. Cantadina, if I pronounced it correctly, is one of the brands that you can have, and that helped out. You can make your own breads. There are recipes using the rice flour or the spelt flour to make your own breads in Chapter 5. So address that issue with some of those ideas. Now, the other issue is with the phlegm. Are you gargling with the Nature's Gift mouthwash?
No, I guess I missed that. No. I'm one of those brain fog people, so I have to go and make my notes for the book because I'm not sleeping at all. It's been a horror. So, and I do want to say I have mast cell activation because I'm a long haul COVID survivor of 2.5 years, and many of the things you just mentioned, such as the wonderful spinach and whatever else you mentioned, I'm down to about 6 veggies or less because of that. I have to be on low histamine, low oxalate, and some other low thing. So, I mean, I know what foods I have to take, yeah.
If you look up anti-inflammatory juicing, I know juices are not on the diet, but lemons and grapefruits are, and if you juice lemon and grapefruit and drink a little bit 3 times a day, it quiets the histamine reaction, because I had that also with long haul COVID. And
now, the other question, the phlegm in the throat, is it maybe from the sinuses draining?
No, it's from my intestines.
Oh, okay. All right, so gargle with the mouthwash. It's good to use anyway. You can consume the mouthwash after you gargle with it. The other thing is that use the kinase enzymes that we have. Those enzymes are anti-biofilm as well.
Can you spell the first word there?
CHITIN. You just go to our store, and at the top right there's a search function, and just type in CHITIN and it'll pop up. Or okay. just go to supplements and you'll find kinase. I can't even pronounce it. Okay, so those are the things you do for biofilm.
Also, Cistus tea.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been drinking that for years. Yeah, I've been drinking that for years. I'm curious about the lemon and grapefruit, because supposedly that's the #1 thing that is high histamine, but you're saying no.
My throat kept closing, and I had these terrible reactions, and the only thing that calmed it down was creating juice.
All right.
Using a juicer with lemons and grapefruit.
Yes. And not necessarily everybody can have grapefruit, but perhaps you can. I think most can. We can't say that everybody. We know lemons are pretty safe for everyone. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next?
Hi.
How are you?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm fine, pretty fine. I've never had a terrible problem, but it seems to be getting worse. I've had it for years, and I have been on a diet that a homeopathic clinician gave me, and it has helped a lot. I think it's kept it under control to some extent. But it does seem to be getting worse at present. And I have a question about the laundry.
Yeah.
Most of the clothes that I buy now have to be washed in cold water. And, you know, they all have spandex and whatever. And so I couldn't follow those protocols on the laundry, I don't believe.
Well, I found that for things that I had to wash in cold water, if I used the Clorox Blue powdered pool shock and dissolved it in the laundry soap so that it was really dissolved, that worked just as well.
What about so many clothes also can't take Clorox?
I'm just telling you that I had clothes that you could only wash in cold water and you weren't supposed to bleach, and I used 1/8 of a teaspoon of Clorox Blue powdered pool shock mixed in with a laundry detergent, and it worked. You have to experiment and see what you can do.
And tell me again what kind of Clorox was that?
Clorox Blue powdered pool shock.
Powdered
pool shock. POOL. It's used for cleaning pools.
Oh.
It's a powder.
Okay, pool cleaner.
Yeah.
No, it's called powdered pool shock.
That's a good point. You're not going to find it in the grocery store.
You'll find it at Walmart, and it's real easy to find a lot of places in the spring because every place stocks it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Keep coming back. Who's next?
Hi. How are you? I'm really glad that I went towards the end. I've heard a lot of my questions that have been answered, and I'm really glad that you just brought up the mast cell activation. And Robin, you said that was grapefruit and lemon just blended together?
No, it's I don't know if you know what juicing is. A juice machine, you take the whole fruit and you push it in, and it separates the juice from the pulp. And I know some people think you should have the pulp, but this is just the juice. And you want to use organic fruit because you're getting the rinds.
Okay. Yeah, because that is one thing that I was able to get my doctor to diagnose me with. And I have some experience with the being locked up in the mental institution with this. At the beginning of this, I'd gone, the doctor gave me ivermectin, and that made me hurt. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that I had Morgellons. I thought I just had scabies, crusted scabies. And so I had a hurt for what you were talking about in the beginning when, it gets worse before it gets better. And then they put me right into a mental institution. So I was hurt in the middle of a mental institution, not able to do anything, and just had to act like everything was normal. Meanwhile, the infection was spreading into my scalp, and I ended up with no hair. It's been a journey, but through following I did just get your book in the mail. And I'm really glad that you talked about at the beginning of this, us with the brain fog having a hard time reading. I really can't sit down and just read unless I'm reading out loud. So what I've been doing is I've been recording myself reading and then listening back to it. So that I can read for 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a time. And then it's just been really helping me to be able to get through this and be able to digest the protocols with all this brain fog that I have going on. I have a hard time navigating through your website and finding the stuff that's talked about. So I don't know if there is a way it's at the end to kind of get the stuff that has been talked about played back on an email or something like that, or rather than having to reread it. like there's a way to like kind of just like have the medications. I know you talked about the Parasite Stop, and I'm sorry, I'm talking really fast right now. But the Parasite Stop was one that was talked about, and there was another one that you mentioned that I really wanted to buy. I was really disappointed when I got my shipment because I guess I didn't put the Garcilanin on, and I know that that's one that is really going to be a game changer, but I haven't been following the King's diet as well as I'd like to, but what I have been doing is pretty much just like water fasting and then eating just chicken. I can't eat eggs because I have a sulfur allergy. And I got to tell you that like the difference from 2 weeks ago to today, my candida infection is gone. You know, I've just, there are times that I feel the movement, but it's way less. Definitely starving the parasites has been a huge game changer. My laundry is something that is really going to be hard to tackle because I have a shared complex and the people downstairs have dogs, and I think that this might have come from a flea type of thing with them. So I was considering looking up to see if I could get like a washer and dryer for here because I didn't even know, like I feel socially like I feel like it's not a good thing to go to a laundromat. Like, I just feel like that's not doing my social job. Like, I'm not sure if that can spread it to other places. And you guys answer that question for me, because I don't want to spread it beyond this building. If I don't have, I don't even. So I.
Okay. Yes. Thanks. Laundromats could be a challenge. You know, you have to do the best that you can. Like I said earlier, you're going to have to disinfect your own machines as you use them. So, was there another question in there? I had trouble understanding everything you were saying.
Kind of me just kind of giving feedback as to like my experiences with going through this. I'm only 2 weeks in, and I've only had the book for like a few days. So, like I said, what I've been doing is for my brain fog. I wish that you could do an audio book or something. That would be really helpful. But for me, right now,
the audio book would be a good idea. It's something that just haven't actually moved on. It seems that the book gets revised every year or so. So it's hard to keep up, and that's why we have these Sunday programs. So you can come on and ask your questions. You can email me and ask questions as well. So thank you for sharing. Keep coming back. We're here to support you in getting it.
One quick question. Somebody mentioned it earlier, and I know that like, I've had I've spotted mold in my apartment. I'm wondering if like I'm trying to tackle the environment and the mold and everything here, but like, is it probably not a good idea to if there is mold like present in a building, right?
How do you tell if there's mold in the building?
No, I'm just talking about like using a diffuser. If there's mold present in it, like that can probably cause like adverse effects, right?
Well, if you have mold, if you have mold in the environment, it's best to do what you can to get rid of it. I mean, using our electrostatic sprayer with the Benefect disinfectant or the Metaclean is going to tackle it. You can use ozone to tackle it, but it's more cumbersome. So there are ways that you can deal with mold as long as it's not inside the walls and be a real health hazard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Keep coming back. We're here to support you. Who's next?
Hi there. I just wanted to tell you I am just making tremendous progress with the Parasite Stop and the debriding soap, and I'm really thrilled. But I do have one question. Some of the drugs, like Lufenuron,
Lufenuron,
And some of the other things like the albendazole, etc., they ask you to eat a fatty meal after you take it, and that wouldn't go along with the diet. So that's the only question lingering in my mind right now.
No, it does go. You need what, I think 10 grams. That's a pat of butter, real butter. That's on the diet. So you can
great.
You can have the Lufenuron with your egg in the morning and fry your egg in butter, or put the butter on your rice cake.
Okay.
So tell us what happened. You've been on Lufenuron, and you were telling me before. So what's your experience? What happened?
Well, it was pretty outrageous. I decided to quit taking loads of ivermectin because I was very concerned about my liver, and went just to Parasite Stop. And then I added the Lufenuron, and literally just, it was pretty scary, literally just layers upon layers of these things, and I don't know what they are, came off my scalp. And it's like, suddenly, the good thing I wear a hat all the time because people would think I'm wearing a wig, because suddenly I have all this hair. My hair was actually underneath this stuff. And it's just, the relief off my head, the migraines being gone, is amazing. It did spread a little bit to my body, unfortunately, but it's okay. They seem to be more removable from the body than the scalp.
So you were saying your scalp was like twice the size it should be?
Yeah, it was really frightening. It was like major encephalitis or meningitis, and the doctors, no matter what I've done, have continued to say that, give the DOP analysis, and I've been afraid I would die because, my ears were swollen up and my head was literally twice its size, and it's so painful that I was, been with bedridden for quite a while. And no matter what I've done, the doctors have absolutely backed each other and refused to acknowledge anything's wrong.
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm laughing at the doctors. And so you're saying since you started the Lufenuron, all this stuff is coming out or away from your head, and it's going back to normal size.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, what happened is my head turned hard as rock. So I couldn't really penetrate it. And I've been doing the coconut and all the essential oils and stuff. But for some reason, the Lufenuron, and I also used the Dream Cream, although I don't have much of that. I did use Dream Cream and did some other things, and suddenly it started softening up after I took the Lufenuron. I don't understand it, but just all this stuff just started coming off.
Great. So what this basically says, her experience basically says, she had some type of fungal thing going on with her head that kept growing and growing, and to the point where it's almost twice the size of normal. And by introducing Lufenuron, and Lufenuron is a medication that is generally, well, doctors do not prescribe it in this country. They just don't. But every veterinarian will prescribe it for the animals, So we're fortunate to have this access to this website, shop4morgellons.com, shop4, the number 4, morgellons.com, who provides pharmaceutical grade Lufenuron, Fenben, and Nitinpyram, and even ivermectin. The same medications that he uses in his cancer clinic in Mexico to get rid of cofactors. Cofactors. There have been other people that have written me and said, since Lufenuron, I'm cured of Morgellons. Well, bull. Lufenuron does not cure anybody of Morgellons, but it will get rid of, it will help get rid of, or in Melanie's case here, get rid of a cofactor called fungus. And we don't know what the organism was, but what Lufenuron does, see, every fungal organism has a fruiting body and hyphae. And the fruiting body is comprised of, I think it's the fruiting, maybe I don't know, but the chitin. Chitin is the building block of all fungal organisms. Doesn't matter what the organism is, chitin, all right? So chitin is like the mortar in a brick wall. You take away the mortar and the brick wall falls. Well, in this case, the Lufenuron inhibits the organisms from propagating. Inhibits the organisms from propagating. So that means all the work that these organisms do to propagate, it goes nowhere, and it's being shed from Melanie's skull. The kinase enzymes that we have in the store actually go ahead and dissolve the existing chitin of the fungal organisms. Now, there is one other application, and since we're not able to actually take scrapings and put them under a microscope, and even if we knew what we were looking for, but there is one other thing, and that is the eggs of mites. Mites lay eggs, and their shells are comprised of chitin. The mouth parts of mites are comprised of chitin as well. So the Lufenuron also works with stopping the propagation of mites as well. So we don't know exactly which it is, whether or not Melanie has been dealing with fungus or whether it's actually a super city of mites in her scalp. We don't know. But one or the other is being removed, and the Lufenuron has stepped in to do the job. So thank you.
Yeah, Richard, it does seem like it's, I know a fungus is a parasite, but it does, I don't even know what they are. They look like clear worms, a whole bunch of them is really what they look like. It's pretty terrifying. They really do look like parasites. So
that's an indication it's some type of mite, and you're seeing maybe the larva, perhaps. I don't know, but
yeah.
It's either one or the other, and we're glad that that something is working for you finally after all these years. How many years have you been dealing with this, Melanie?
About 12.
12 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for things to change for you. Thank you, and keep coming back. We're glad to support you in getting your life back.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm so thankful.
Okay, thank you.
This is from Lisa, and she writes, I've recently purchased several of your products that I am waiting to receive for my son. We are not sure what is going on with him. He has had a long worm, we think, in his lid of his right eye, and we have for the past several months been going to eye doctors with no help. They just say it's a scratched cornea and give drops. He has lost his sight in that eye right now, and he feels something move in his eye to his nose and mouth. He's had weird things fall off of him, and a goo and a weird feeling hair and beard. We think his eye is infested with scabies or a worm and possibly has Morgellons. Whatever it is, it's contagious, and I have had black seeds come out of me and little sores pop up and can feel things crawling but can't see. Seems like clear bubbly stuff in a wet sink when I brush out my hair. I also see little pieces of fabric that are small, like a fruit fly, around me, and I've seen the arm wrapped in a few pieces of clothing, and my hair sometimes feels electric and has some small silver flakes sometimes. Also, my son can feel a pull with a magnet on his eye and body sometimes. Do you know what any of this is and what we need to do? It's the craziest thing I've ever been through. Also, he has a 2-year-old son that has had a continuous runny nose and itchy head. He had a knot on the back of his head when it all started, and I have a knot under my skin in my arm that won't go away.
Well, there are a lot of people that start at this level, and I'm sure that everybody knows that's on this call can relate to some aspect of what she's experiencing and her son is experiencing. First of all, to those who claim that these organisms are not contagious, you're full of it. They are contagious. And if I called this lady a liar, I'd have to call hundreds of people liars as well. And it's unfortunate that this has not been recognized. Now, with respect to the eyes, with respect to everything, number one, what's the number one thing for this family to do, Robin?
Number one, I don't know. There's so many at once. Give me a hint.
The diet.
The diet, right. Number one is the diet.
Number one is always the diet. Make the diet kick in.
Nothing will work without the diet. Nothing will work without the diet. Even if a doctor prescribes antibiotics, it may help, but when you stop the antibiotics, everything will come back full force.
Exactly.
Without the diet.
Get the diet to kick in. Now, we're dealing with the eyes. Robin has had personal experience with the eyes. We've talked about this many times on this program. We're going to be a little bit redundant again and talk about it again. And Megan, one of our coaches, has by doctor's advice, by taking her doctor's advice, lost her eyesight. And then by figuring out the diet, she kind of figured it out on her own. She couldn't read the book, but she kind of figured out the diet on her own, just like I did, and got her eyesight back. So we do different things, A basic thing can do, we have colloidal silver in the store that you can use as drops in your eyes. You can get an eye wash thing and put colloidal silver in it, wash your eyes with it. You can get saline water, put a drop of Nature's Gift in it, and wash your eyes with it. Chapter 6 has some other suggestions of different things that you can do, some medications that can do to help with the eyes. We're talking about maybe nematodes. We haven't actually put them under a microscope to see if it's a nematode or what. So this is where we would look towards something like fenbenzidol through our supplier in Mexico, shopformorgellons.com, and begin using the first thing you want to do is complete the questionnaire, which I sent to the person. And when I receive the questionnaire, I go through, and all these recommendations come out in the questionnaire. One lady sent me a photograph of her. She's in crisis. I get many of these emails. I'm in crisis. I'm dire need. I think I'm going to jump off the bridge. Please help me. What can I do? And I have a photograph of her arm that's all scaly and, biofilm and terrible looking, And so I checked her email, and she's been receiving our updates since 2018. So I have to ask, what have you been doing? I mean, I can understand if you just joined a week ago, but for 2018, and then, it didn't happen overnight, So there are a lot of things that you do. Number one is get the diet to work, read the book, fill out the questionnaire, send it to me, get the detailed protocol. Like I said before, but I'm required to inform you once you get it to take it to your doctor and see if there's any problem, if it will interfere with any health problems you're having. But then get to work on following the protocol. It's very detailed and leaves basically no stone unturned. So unfortunately, there's no quick, easy answer. There's a lot of things to be done for this family to get things back in order. But the good news is they've come to the right place. Okay, anything you'd like to say, Robin, before we wrap it up?
I'm good. I'm good.
I have one more person, Carmen.
Okay.
Carmen?
Yes.
Yes, here I am. Yes, I'm Carmen from Phoenix, and I've been following you for about 2 years now, I think. And I know just to reiterate kind of what was said about the diet, I know that is just the most important thing in the world to do. I know at first I was being really strict on the diet, but I wasn't careful to read everything. And some of my spices had different things in it. And then when I made sure everything on the diet was done, I mean, it was just like a couple of weeks before I felt such great improvement. I've been on stage 3, and I'm sorry, what was that?
So which spices do you remember which were a problem?
It was the ones I got from Walmart, and it was garlic powder and I don't remember which ones. I do use a lot of spices, so, but I know the garlic, which I use a lot anyway, so I started using more of, that had something, but all the Walmart ones had it. The ones from Kroger, I don't know, because I'm in Phoenix, and those are pretty good spices. They're not as strong, of course, as the other ones, but they don't have anything but what it says it has. And so I found out that was pretty good. But the Walmart ones did have whatever they put in it. It's like, wow. But but anyhow, on the diet, I did excellent. I've had a couple of relapses, especially when I moved and got my things out of storage. I had that relapse. And I was on stage 3, and I could pretty much eat almost anything I wanted. I could go to the restaurant and eat. I could eat almost anything I wanted. And one time, I was eating a bag of mixed nuts with my husband, and I broke out really bad again. And then I looked at it, and it says, okay, no nuts, no peanuts, and no mushrooms. And so that's fine. So I'm working towards getting myself, back on stage 3 again. So, but it's been fast. It's been really fast. I do take the Max 1, and I found taking the Max 1 really helped a lot. I know with my eyes, I know with some of the things you said, I went to the eye doctor, because my vision was blurry, and he said that there was nothing wrong with my eyes. It was the inflammation that didn't allow me to see properly. So if that person, there's a good chance it's just the inflammation, and that, when you get on the diet and, drinking a lot of water and all the things that are said, then he should be able to have his vision restored back. I know mine, I couldn't read. That's how bad my eyes got. And so, but that's what he said. Because I figure they're doctors, they should figure out and tell me what's wrong. I'm not gonna, but my son was different. He got them, and he went around telling every doctor in the world. And one time he went to the emergency room, and they thought he was on all kinds of drugs, so they drug tested him and all that. And of course, he wasn't on drugs. It was the Morgellons. But now he's going to this one doctor, and she is very, very diligent. She wants to know what's going on. And she told him that the Mayo Clinic up here is investigating it and looking into it to see what they are and what causes them, and how everything about them. And so she's been very, very good. And she's probably one in a million, and she's very, very good about, looking at the different things and sending things that he's given her to the Mayo Clinic and like that. So I was like, wow, I just wanted to tell you about that in particular. But yeah, but thank you so much for all that you've done, because following the book and following the protocol and doing, I was so happy when I could go to the restaurant with my friends and pretty much eat anything I wanted, with no problem at all, not even a little bit, so it is possible and it can be done. So, I know with myself, sometimes I looked at it and I was like, oh, well, it's going to take this amount of time or that amount of time. But
Okay.
I know I have to think about this. It's where am I going to be next year anyways if I don't do it? I'll be there. So
Wonderful.
you might as well told myself, just get busy doing it. And like I said, I did have that foot back, but I can see, my face was so swollen, nobody recognized me. I had that rash all over from head to toe, in my scalp and my head. One thing I did find that helped it was to get the body wash, the mouthwash, and squirt it on my head. And that helped the itch tremendously, too. That stuff is wonderful stuff, too. I would keep it on my my nightstand with the little long cotton malt balls, and I'd squirt it on there and just rub wherever I was itching,
Right.
and that stuff is just a wonderful. And then I put, I'm using the green cream again, too. That's just great stuff, too. It has just been, I am just so grateful I found this group because, like I said, it's been 2 years, but a good part of the 2 years.
What is your first name again?
Carmen.
Carmen.
Uh-huh.
Carmen,
Yeah.
Carmen, would you send me an email and perhaps consider being a guest next week and share your experience as our guest?
I can try. I know I'm a care person, and this week I was sick, and so I didn't go, and so that's why I was able to join you. But I can send you an email. I can do the best I can to be a guest.
I don't know how your voice is coming across with everyone else, but it's a little muffled here. I don't know if you're speaking through a speakerphone or...
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Oh, that's my phone's weird like that. Yes.
But
I should have spoke with it the whole time.
Yeah, I'd love to have you as a guest and to share your experience. It's very valuable for everyone else. And, if you're not through the speakerphone, everybody will be able to understand a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have, so yeah, because I know, Robin too. I thank her so much. She was a life changer, when she helped me out so much. I don't know if you remember me, but she did. She helped me so much, and I was able to, give others, this information too. Especially, like I said, my son, who he, and tell him, do this, do that. And it worked with him too. And it's like, you were fabulous too, Robin. You're just such a wonderful person. I appreciate you a lot.
Great. And you've made a lot of progress. And, I welcome you to also join our coaching staff as well. So if you're available to come on next week or the following week, let's set a time and you can share your experience as a guest speaker, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you got my email, so email me and let's get in touch. Okay, thank you much. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Okay, so we hope to hear from Carmen in the future and on the phone and not the speakerphone and we got the gist. She's done great. She's gotten her life back. That's wonderful.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Everybody on this call can make it happen as well. And we've heard a lot of other people who are well on their way. And we have a lot of people on the call that are brand new to the program. So it's those who come on and take the time to come on and share their experiences are so inspirational for those who are struggling and at the beginning. We know it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. There's nothing like it. And the next part of our program will be about managing the stress of it.